Good evening, everybody. We'll get started with today's class. We'll talk about triggers today. So database triggers. So first of all, what we'll do is we have this Scott user as the employee table. So we have select star from EMP table. And when we run this, you can see all these rows exist. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll grant select comma insert comma update comma delete on EMP to which user 1. Okay, so we have this user 1, we are granting privileges. So user 1 now can do select Scott comma select star from Scott comma EMP, and because we granted privileges, this user also can look at the data. Okay. So now that we have privileges in place, what we will do is, first of all, scenario is now that user 1 can see, insert, update, and delete any data from the EMP table. How will we do some logging? Let's say, for example, if somebody deletes data from let's say EMP table, we would like to take a note of that. So we would like to say, for example, create a table called EMP actions log table. And let's just, for now, we'll just say, for example, we'll say what was the action underscore log and what is the action log will be varchar of, let's say, 100, varchar 2 of 100. And then let's say action date is a data type, and we'll say default is nothing but sysdate. Okay, sysdate function, and then we'll just end it there. That will create the table. So you can see that table exists now. Select star from EMP underscore action underscore log, and you can see here run. What happened? Actions log. Okay. So you can see there is no entries in there. Okay. So what we'll do now is imagine if somebody is going to delete data from the EMP table or somebody is inserting data. So how can we capture that log saying, okay, somebody is doing some insert. So how can we do that is based on a specific event, database can trigger and run some PLSQL code. So once you have a trigger in place, you will know how it is working. So what we'll do is, first of all, what is the syntax to create a trigger? Okay, create or replace trigger. Okay, what is the trigger name? Okay, TRG, let's say trigger. And what is that we are going to do? We are going to capture actions log actions for EMP table. Okay, so this is our trigger name. Now here you can specify whether you want to run it before or after. What is the timing of this trigger, whether it is before or after. Okay, so you can run only at one time, like before or after this particular trigger. You can have another trigger which can do other stuff. Let's say you can write before or after. You can write only one thing. You cannot write both of them. Then you can write what is the event. Okay, say for example, before insert or before update or before delete. Okay, so these are the three events you can have, like say update, insert, update, or delete. These are the events a database will generate when you do some changes to the data. Okay, so this is the event and this is the timing of that event. Like say for example, when do you want to run this trigger? Is it before insert or after insert? That's the thing you can write. Now you can write trigger with multiple events. Like say you can capture both update and delete with the same trigger, and based on the event you can do something. Okay, and then we have to specify on what is the table name. Table name is EMP, let's say. Okay, now there is one extra option here called for each row, and I will explain that in the second example. First example will not do the for each row, and I will show you what is the difference. Now, remember when we did PL/SQL initially, we said, okay, declare begin and end sections. Exceptions is one more section. With stored procedures and functions, and even in packages, we did not write the declare keyword. But for triggers, we need to write declare keyword. Okay, begin and end. And obviously you can have exception, like just like whatever we learned in PL/SQL. So this is the syntax to create a trigger. Okay. So what we'll do now, we'll take this trigger and we'll try to create a trigger which will identify, say for example, create or replace a trigger action. Okay. Let's say for example, we'll record it before a delete happens. Okay. So this is how we'll write before delete on EMP. Now we'll not use for each row for this particular scenario. And also I don't have anything to declare. So what I'll do is I don't have any exception handling. All I'm going to do is quietly, I'm going to insert a record, insert into. Now, what is the table we created is emp actions log. So there is another table, nothing to do with the EMP itself. What we need to do is we need to capture the message. Okay, so for example, action log. I'm just showing you a very simple trigger here. So let's say action log, and what is that you want to write is values. Okay, data deleted, data is being deleted from EMP table. Okay, so this is a very generic message. I'm just letting person know that there is a data being deleted from the employee table. Okay, so this is how you create a trigger. So what you did is create or replace trigger, and you specified what is the trigger name, and you're specifying when do you want, what is the timing of the trigger. Like say it is before a delete happens. Delete is the event on employee table. What you're going to do if this trigger is fired. Okay, so you run this. Now what happens is you run the script, trigger got compiled. You can see it looks exactly like a stored procedure or function. It says trigger so and so got compiled. Okay. Now onwards, your trigger will start capturing data based on the events. You don't have to do anything. Okay. So first of all, what I want to show you is I want to show you the employee actions log, and this table is still empty. But let's say, for example, this user, like the user one or any user, including Scott user, says delete from scott.emp where emp no equal to 7777. There is one specific employee. I'm deleting that record. Okay. So that data got deleted. Now here for the user, it doesn't tell anything. It just says data deleted. Okay. But let's see what happened for the actions log table is the trigger will be fired. Okay, let me see what happened before delete on employee, insert into actions log, action log values. I am logging the value. Okay. Now so far, since we created that, it should have already executed the trigger when I tried to delete the data. Okay, let me see what happened. Why did it not capture any records? So let me check something. Probably trigger is disabled by default. Let's see. Okay, this is not the user one. I will look at the triggers and look at the triggers. Look at the trigger information by clicking on that. It shows everything is okay. Profiles, references, dependencies, errors. I don't see any errors. Grants and details. Let's see. Project name. It's supposed to execute the trigger automatically. I'm just trying to figure out why it did not do it when I did delete some data. Okay. So I'm not sure. It is saying that it is all valid and everything. So let's close this and let's go back here and let's try to delete this row again. That row should not exist. It deleted something. Let's delete everything. 14 rows deleted. Let's look at the action log. Nothing happened. That's strange. Okay, let's roll back these changes. Roll back. Remember, I did not commit yet, so nothing really happened. Rollback completed. And when I select this data, it should be all intact. Okay, everything is in there. Let me change this to after delete. Okay, let's try this. Let me see. Data has been deleted from EMP table. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, it got compiled. Everything looks okay. There is no EMP actions log, action log, EMP actions log, action log values, and so on. Everything looks okay here. Okay, so let me delete everything from this table. 15 rows deleted, you can see here. So when I go back and look at the data, something is wrong with the triggers because by this time it should already run. Okay, so what if no, the trigger you don't have to because you are already running it as a Scott user. You're actually creating the trigger as a Scott user. And also here you don't have to tell because this is local to Scott. Let me think. Okay, let me roll back one more time. Let me try to see what's going on here. Clear this where employee NO equal to 7777. You know that this particular row exists, and I'm going to commit. Oh, one more thing we'll do. We'll not commit this. Hold on. I want to check something. Okay, I'm going to roll back this change. Nothing happened. So all rows are still there. Okay. All rows are still there. Let me show you something else here. Okay. Delete from EMP where EMP NO equal to 7777. And I'm going to delete the data. So one row got deleted, and let's look at the actions log. See, the data is recording. Okay, so I personally think something has to be done. Probably I'm forgetting something else. Okay, so what is happening now is if this data is being deleted, then the trigger will record when that delete is occurring, and it will save the information. Okay. Now I'm not sure why it did not do in the other place. Okay. So in any case, okay, what we'll do is we'll save this trigger. We'll try to understand that later. We'll continue to see how we'll create these triggers. Okay. So first thing we did is we created this trigger. And let me explain how this works. Okay, so what this does is this particular trigger will be executed after a delete happens on a specific table. It is going to record some information um, about some log. Let's say you have to send an email to the administrator saying somebody is deleting data. Okay, so whatever your scenario is, you will be writing that in your PL SQL code, and your trigger will run without telling the user who is deleting data. It will just quietly run and make sure it cannot be done. Remember, we also did something called raise application error with the exceptions. So we can raise application errors, right? So what you can do here is um, you can try to do this. Say, for example, before deleting the data, okay, what you do is here you will say instead of deleting, you will say attempt was made to delete from the table. Okay. And also you will basically crash and stop the delete itself by doing raise application error. Okay, there is an application error message, like you can do this. Say, for example, raise application error, some big number like error code, and you will say not possible. Okay, this is just error message. And what we'll do is we'll just say, for example, we'll do that, and it will stop the delete right before happening. So now let's run this code, and basically I created the new trigger with the same name. And also let's roll back whatever delete we did, roll back. Okay. And now whatever rollback is completed, let's look at the table. I mean, this EMP table, it should contain all the rows. Oh, something happened. My 7777 got committed. Okay, so that's all right. We'll delete another employee, a different employee this time. We'll take 7369. Okay, 7369. And I'm not sure if we can delete this way because they might have managers and all that, but we'll try. So when I delete, now what happens is you see the trigger is stopping this particular delete by saying not possible. Don't delete. I cannot delete this. At the same time, it will internally record that log saying somebody tried to delete. Data has been deleted from M table. Okay. So basically in this case, it did not even save the message. It directly went into raise application error. Okay. So it just says, okay, you cannot delete this data because now we have a restriction. So in any case, you know the basic concept of a trigger. What it does is it before something happens, some event occurs, or after some event occurs, it will run this PLSQL code on a specific table. Okay. Now, what if we want to log updates? Okay, updates for employee table. Okay, what I want to do is after update happens on employee table, for each row, I'm going to show you why we are going to use for each row here. For each row, what I want to do is I will get rid of that. And let's say scenario here is you see this employee table has a salary column. Okay. So look at the salary column. I don't want any employee to go and change their salary. Let's say, for example, this table is not protected well. A lot of people have access to it. Anybody can change the salary. So what we need to know is which employee salary was changed. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll create another table here. Let's take another employee update log. Let's say, for example, employee update log. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll capture the EMPNO. Okay. It is a number. We'll capture the old underscore salary, which is also a number. We'll capture the new underscore salary. which is also a number. And when was this update happened? Update date. Okay, update date is default, whatever date system provides. Okay, so now if we have this table, so log update log got created. Okay, the table. What we'll do is we'll insert data into this table. We'll say, okay, create or replace trigger name after an update happens on EMP. For each row, for every single row, what it will do is it will insert into this table, okay, with the column name specified. Let's say we are going to capture only the old salary and the new salary columns, and everything else will just say values. Okay. Here, how do we know what is the employee number, right? So here we use something called colon new and colon old. Okay. So this thing will tell me what are the old values and what are the new values. So what we'll do here is, let's say we are changing the salary column, not the employee number. Okay. So here what I'll do, new.empno. Okay. Now first thing I want is old.sal and colon new.sal. Okay. So this will tell me what was the old value, what was the new value, save it into the table and end. That's the trigger. Okay. Now this trigger will keep track of all the, sorry, keep track of all the, hold on. That is strange. So all I have to do is colon new dot. Oh yeah, there you go. Sorry, I was just not focusing. I was clicking on a wrong button. Once you run the script, it got created. Okay, got compiled. So also you can check here triggers, refresh. You'll see the new trigger here updates. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll try take a look at the update log. Nothing should be there. Update log. Okay. So this does not contain any changes. Now let's look at this table EMP, and let's say for example, let's pick one user, Scott. Okay, update EMP set salary plus 100. Okay, where let's say EMP number in, I'm going to update this for a couple of users. Okay, so let's take these three users or these three employees, and you know that the syntax is perfectly okay and it should run, right? So now what I'm doing here is one thing mistake is sal equal to salary plus 100. Okay. So now this looks good. Updated. 3 rows got updated. Okay. Now let's check if our trigger really worked. What it should do is it should record the old and new salaries, and you can see the employee number, old salary, new salary, and the date when it was updated. Okay. So what is happening with the trigger is basically it is able to capture your updated changes. Okay. Now here is the trick. How do you know whether it is before or after, right? So for example, after you delete, that row does not exist. So you cannot um, well, let me think. So before you change, this old and new will not exist. Okay. After you update, you can now ask for old and new because both values are known to Oracle. At the same time, like say, for example, after you complete the delete, you cannot stop it after it is completed. You can stop it before. Okay. So in any case, the trigger, what it is doing now is for every single row, it is going to trigger and capture the values. Okay. How do you know? We executed only one update statement here. Remember, we updated 3 rows, and for every single row it updated, it captured the values here in the log table. Okay. So let's go here. Let's say the other users, user one has update scott.emp set sal equal to sal plus 10. Okay. So he does it for like by mistake for everybody. Okay. Now it is running, and what it is doing is it is basically in the background, it is going and what happened? Why is it doing this for so long? Okay. I know what's happening. We did not talk about locks. Okay. So let me clear that. Okay. 14 rows got updated. Now what happens is your log table should record all the 14 rows. Now something is wrong when I run that command from another user, it is not doing it. I might have to look at the triggers one more time, but let's do this for like the local user. Okay. So like Scott user. And then when I run this update, so this guy has to finish it. Let me roll back this changes. Let me give it 1 second. We haven't talked about concurrency and all that. So, okay. So here are the 14 rows got updated. Now let's look at the update log. Let's understand that for every single row it updated, it is recording those changes. Okay. So you can see every single change, the $10 change is recorded into this table. So now we know, okay, so what is the possibility is you can even capture who is updating it. What is the username who is doing this update? So this is for more auditing purposes. And also notice one thing that when trigger runs, it doesn't tell me in the output that there is something else running in the background. So you can quietly record user actions, and triggers are very useful for that. Okay. Remember one thing, that triggers are not good in every single situation. Like say if you have a big table and there are a lot of changes being made in the table, then for each row trigger will be executed for every single change. So imagine you will have some performance effect. Okay. So you have to take a performance into consideration. So any questions with triggers? Okay. Okay, so let me close these two windows here, and we are going to do some different stuff here, mathematics. I mean some other stuff other than what we talked about. So what we'll do, clear this query result set, clear this output. Um, let's talk about something called materialized views. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll commit all the changes we did or roll back all the changes we did in this window. Come and then select star from EMP table. And what we'll do, so what we'll try to do here is we'll try to set up a scenario, and then I'll explain how materialized views are used. So first of all, what I will do is I will write a statement called select department number, comma, sum of salary. Okay. And we'll call it as total underscore sal from EMP and group by DPTNO. You know that we can calculate the total salaries per department. Okay, this is the query. So this is an easy query. What I want to show you is if we do set auto trace and trace explain like this, what will happen is now we'll be able to see. Why is it saying trace only option is currently not supported? I'm not sure why. Okay, let's use something called SQL Plus for this example. Let's switch here. SQL Plus Scott Tiger, and I will increase the font size. Let's make it bigger. Okay, like that. Clear screen. let me do the set auto trace and trace explain. Okay. So this is already set now. Okay, we were using developer earlier, so probably there is a problem with that. So what we'll do, we'll look at this select DEPTNO, comma, sum of salary, sal, total sal from EMP group by DEPTNO. Okay, we know this particular command. Okay. Now what is happening inside is if you see now suddenly we did not see the output, but we saw how it is going to run this command. Okay, what it is doing is first of all it is showing you something called execution plan, which I mean you will learn it when you go to production. I mean database administration. This particular whole thing, this operation, it is going to run in 3 steps. Okay, the table it is going to run is EMP table. It is going to do 3 steps. First of all, it is running a select statement. It is going to group by. It is going to do a group by option. And also it is going to do a table access full. What does this mean is in another words, it is going to read the entire table and then it is going to tell you what is the sum of salary. Okay. Now imagine if you are running this query like um, say for example 1,000 times in a minute for some reporting purposes, your system is going to run it that way. Okay, that means you're going to run this so many times. What you can do is you can create something called materialized view. Okay, so what will happen is if you go back here, if you don't have materialized view and your table is big, it has to run this all the time, right? So output for your group by function looks like this, right? Total salary. Now what if you can maintain a view which will keep this summarized? Okay, you might say, you might think, why can't we do create view v cells cell is okay, or as I don't remember what was that for create view for on or something like that. Okay, anyway, what is it saying? Missing keyword. I know that this is not correct. It should be like on, I guess. No, is. As. Okay, I'm looking for some help on the syntax here. Okay, view got created. Now you might say, now I can query this view all the time, right? Select star from v underscore cell. Okay, so that should tell you exactly what is that output. But let's go back and look at how it is executing. If you look at that plan I was telling you about, if you look at select star from v underscore cell, it should tell you what it is doing, right? You see there is no difference between when you're running the full query or you're running a select star from view, because view is nothing but it is storing this particular query and running it every time. That means there is no improvement in the performance wise. Okay, it is going to do exactly same thing. Now what we'll do, we'll create a materialized view. I will explain what materialized view does. Okay, so let's open up another window here, another SQL Plus window, worksheet. I'm going to create a materialized view, materialized okay, view, and we'll call it as MV underscore employee department sales. Okay, build immediate. Now there is a lot of syntax here. What build immediate tells is it will build this materialized view immediately after we submit this query. It will refresh the data inside that view in a fast mode. Okay, and it will keep all the data up to date on commit. Whenever we commit the changes to EMP table, it is going to keep the data up to date. And there is a feature introduced in Oracle called enable query rewrite. Okay. Now here is the last final statement we are going to give. What is that we are going to create view for is this query. Okay. So now onwards, whenever, okay, so what it is going to first of all do is, let me run this. It is going to create the materialized view, and looks like we don't have privileges. So it simply says insufficient privileges because as a Scott user, I don't have privilege to create a materialized view. So let me go and get this access. Let me say connect and a worksheet as a sys user. And then I will say grant materialized view to Scott. Okay, this is a permission I'm granting. Hold on 1 second. Create materialized view, grant, create materialized view to Scott. Okay, grant got succeeded. Now I can run this command and let's run this again. Okay, what does it say? Oh, how can I explain this? Okay, so the database installation I did does not support materialized view query rewrites. So that particular feature is not even enabled because I'm using a XE version. Okay. So in this case, I cannot show you the practical, but what we can do is discuss how it works. Okay. So let me take this here and paste it here. I will explain what it is doing. So now onwards, every time you run this particular query, it will not go to the base table and calculate, but what it will do is it will just query this particular materialized view, which is going to keep track of all the changes happening in the EMP table, and it will allow you to quickly look at a summarized data. So this is more used in the reporting purposes. What we do is, so let's say, for example, you have this billion row table and you're getting a lot of sales information coming in, and your managers keep on asking, okay, how much sale happened today? So you keep the summarized data in a materialized view, and you're going to query. You can directly query the materialized. I mean, you can rerun the same query, and Oracle will rewrite your query, change it, and it will point it to getting data from this view. Okay. So this is a feature introduced several versions ago, and this is a very mature addition to Oracle database. It is very powerful. Unfortunately, the version I'm using right now does not support materialized views and query rewrites. So you should be trying it on an enterprise edition, like Oracle has enterprise edition software. I'm using Oracle XE Express Edition, but if you use a better enterprise edition, then it will work. Um, anyway, read up a little bit about materialized views. This is a very useful option. Mostly your database administrators will create these materialized views, and they'll be able to maintain it for query performance. Okay, so I think that's all for the class today. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, this is the end of what we were going to discuss. We covered a lot of SQL and PL SQL. Obviously, there is a lot more to cover, but our target was to learn the basic SQL and PL SQL, and we did it. So let me know if you have any questions. Okay, thank you very much.